Hi, I'm Ros Cardinal, Managing Director of Shaping Change. I had a question today from one of my clients, a lady called Sarah, and she said to me, I've got a boss who always says he wants new ideas, but then every time I take anything to him, he just basically shoots down each of my proposals. Now she's getting quite frustrated with these contradictory messages, and she actually wanted some advice on how to meet his expectations. So I thought I'd share this with everybody. So let's think about what if there was a way to get your boss to buy into more of your recommendations. And I've got some suggestions. Firstly, though, some tips for recovering from the rejection, because it can be pretty tough. Firstly, be objective. You need to assess any consequences from previous proposals that your boss turned down. Try and resist the urge to take rejection personally and give yourself some credit for trying at least. Secondly, clarify priorities with your boss. Ask your boss if it's worth submitting another proposal at a future time. And if not, discuss where you need to be focusing your resources instead. Thirdly, learn from experience. Taking risks is actually quite valuable, even when the results are different from what you actually intended. You can ask your boss and your colleagues for feedback to help you refine your efforts. Number 4, manage your emotions. It's quite okay to feel a little bit down, but see if you can manage that. You might need to go for a walk, go outside, get some fresh air, talk things over with a friend or a colleague. And finally, stay positive. Avoid venting frustrations about your boss at work. Show that you're capable of looking at the big picture and making a valuable contribution to the team. And then I want to give you some tips for actually preparing your ideas to take them to your boss. Firstly, listen to customers. Try and keep up with market demands and customer requests. And when you've got that data, it helps make your proposals more compelling and more relevant. Your employer wants to know how your ideas can help move the business forward. You also need to build alliances. It's really important to think about developing support for your ideas before you present them. It might be easier to persuade your boss if they can see that you've got the backing of your co-workers or maybe other departments. You need to understand the culture. Some organisations are much more flexible than others. There are organisations that say they want innovation, but the culture absolutely doesn't. If innovation and creativity really matters to you, you need to make that part of the criteria you use when you're picking an employer. Also start small. You know, little victories along the way can put you on the road to, I guess, bigger breakthroughs. Make your first proposal fairly modest, fairly low risk, especially if your boss is hesitant to take chances. If your boss is really risk averse, you need to make sure that you're presenting something that mitigates the risks that they could be concerned about. And then some tips for the actual presentation when you're presenting your ideas to your boss. Bring along supporting evidence. Share your research so that there's an understanding of the purpose and potential behind your ideas. Have answers ready for any questions and objections. If your boss is really data-driven, charts, tables, lots of data can really help as well. Think about preparing alternatives. So you may find your boss or your colleagues might agree that changes could be beneficial, even if they decide not to adopt your initial approach. So have different options available for discussion. And in actual fact, having several options available makes people more comfortable. And in fact, one of the interesting things about human nature is when presented by 3 options, we quite often will pick the middle one. You need to also show leadership, because no matter how great your ideas are, your boss will be thinking about how much time, work, resources, etc. is going to be required to implement those ideas. Maybe what you need to do is volunteer to take the lead role, run the project, whatever it is, to bring your concept to light so your boss knows that it's not going to be an excessive demand on them or the rest of the department. You also need to think about providing reassurance. It's natural to be really enthusiastic about your ideas, but bear in mind your boss has got to balance a whole range of demands on their resources. There's often very limited resources inside organisations. Let your boss know you respect their judgment, because having a solid relationship with your boss is more important than any individual proposal at this stage. So even though innovation is necessary for business success and even business survival at the end of the day, change can still be quite scary. You need to take your boss's concerns into consideration and look at being really skillful about how you propose your ideas that are going to benefit you and also the organisation. So I hope that really helps. I'm Ros Cardinal, Managing Director of Shaping Change. Thank you.